So, Francis, welcome. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, let's start with understanding a bit more your background when you were not drumming. Tell us a little bit about your personal life. Who is Francis?
When I'm not drumming, I'm now a husband. It's weird to say it because it's not even a year since I got
Wow,
married. So it's kind of
congrats.
like, thank you. I try to be in the gym a lot, even though I don't show it that way. But I really like to be in the gym. I kind of compare it with drums. It's like my happy place because it's something
Mhm.
I'm doing for me, either the way I want to look or either the way I want to be. So I really try to be mindful with that. Sometimes living here in the States is kind of hard because everywhere you go is like a lot of fast food and, and stuff. But I try to keep moving constantly or eating healthy.
You're
Or
living in the States, but
yeah,
you come from?
yeah, I'm living in Massachusetts right now, but I'm from Dominican Republic. So it's the opposite way in almost every term. Talking about like weather wise is way
Mhm.
too different. We're planning to move out of Mass soon, but we don't know yet where or when we're doing it. We're just planning a weather that feels more than like the DR,
Mhm.
maybe down south or something. But yeah, I'm from DR, and I came to the States in fall 2018.
All right, long time already.
Yeah, yeah,
You feel adapted?
yeah. It's kind of hard to say like, oh yeah, no, I'm used to the weather and the culture. You never feel like you get used um,
Mm.
to it because sometimes you get like super homesick and you miss a lot your family, your friends.
Mm.
um but yeah, I think I kind of adapt to the way because even Dominicans, we are not all of us, but we are known as a Latino in general, that we are late to to
Mhm.
to things and stuff. In my family, we were like my parents, they were always like, no, you have to be responsible, you have to be on time. So in that term, I never had an issue with that. I know a
Mhm.
lot of friends that hear, oh yeah, the show is at 8. That's gonna start at 10. Yeah, but they told you at 8, so you have you have to be there,
Gotta be there.
so yeah,
Yeah.
like the way to adapt, it's different from for everyone.
Mm.
But I think I'm getting there.
Cool. Nice. When I was living in LA, I remember there was this saying in the movie scene that they would say, if you are early, you are on time. If you are on time, you are late. If you are late, you are fired.
Wow, that's
That was
it.
very strong, I said, but that's true. You
That's
need to
it.
be early, not on time, right?
Yeah, very straightforward.
Yeah, very cool. All right. So, how about Francis drumming? Tell us a little bit about your story on the drums.
Yeah, so I'm the first musician in my family.
Okay.
Then my brother, like, he followed my steps, but more in the percussion side. So I started playing when I was like 2 or 3 years old. My mom told me that I used to take, those powder milk cans. I just like turn it over and just start like playing with everything, my hands,
Uh-huh.
forks and stuff. And then when I turned 3 years old, they gave me like a small drum kit, but it was like a real drum kit because they gave me one of those like toys, and I
Uh-huh.
destroyed it right away. Yeah, because those are like plastic. But then they gave me a real drum set, and it was a small
Okay.
drum set, but it was really nice. And I started playing at church, and then the drummer that was playing at that church became like my professor, my master. At that time, he was taking classes at the conservatory
Hmm.
in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. And he used to take me to classes because we used to live close to each other. So he used to live like a
Okay.
few streets down the streets from our place, and he used to go to my house to give me like private lessons. And when I was free, like when I was not in school and he had the time to take me to his practice and stuff, I used to go there. That's why I was always like in this musical environment, because I was going to the conservatory since I was like 3 4 years old, and I was as a kid, I was always like curious. I have a lot of musicians that are really my friends now, that they always say stories like, "Oh, I remember I met this guy when he was a little kid, just like bothering everyone, just running around, playing everywhere." And that's the beginning of the story. Then I started like taking like proper lessons, like in a music academy. Then I went to the conservatory as well, but I was taking, instead of drums, I was taking classical percussion, because that's
All right.
what, yeah, that's what my professor was taking. And he was like, yeah, you have to take this. I never liked the idea. I always liked to play drums. To me, it was kind of boring, like having to, okay, only the snare drum, yeah, only the bass
Hmm.
drum,
Hmm.
only the cymbals. It was kind of like, man, I can do everything at the same time. Like, what, why am I doing this, but that helped me a lot in terms of, first, which is really important as a drummer, dynamics. Sometimes we just want to, bash those drums and just play as loud as we can. But you have to respect your bandmates. Second, the crowd, and third, which goes hand to hand with the crowd, the place that you're playing. Because if you're playing in a small apartment, a small house party, you're not gonna play loud because they want to
Yeah.
talk. Sometimes
Yeah.
we know that sometimes we get hired just to be like the background music, and you have to be able to be that, the background
Yeah.
music as well. So
But
so
it's pretty
yeah,
hard to find drummers that play with dynamic, right?
yeah. In the
It's
DR,
pretty. Mm.
it's hard. In the DR, sometimes I got called because of that. Not even because I was like a good drummer. It was like, yeah, you can play soft and play right, and I'm like, okay, thank you. Which here, sometimes it's like sometimes it's an advantage, sometimes it's not. Because here, when I got here to the States and started playing club gigs, it was the opposite. It was like, man, you play too soft. You have to
Hmm.
play, and I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
cool.
Did you go also for percussion, not orchestral percussion, so classical percussion, but also popular
Ye-
percussion?
Yeah, in the conservatory, it was more classical percussion, but they also had Dominican folklore. And man, I really like. I wish I paid more attention to those classes, because
Hmm.
that's the thing that I'm doing the most right now. Not the
Hmm.
most, but I'm playing in a band called Yacer Tejeda, which he's a singer, composer, and guitar player from DR. That's his music. He plays Afro Dominican music, which is everything, like every music from the DR that you don't know of, because we
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
are well known for merengue and bachata, and now dembow with all the like reggaeton, like hard stuff.
Hmm.
But there's a lot of styles and rhythms that are like in the countryside,
Hmm.
and even people that are from there, they don't know.
I think a great point because I think it comes actually happens in many countries. From Brazil, happens the same. Also, like people will know only the most popular and commercial stuff that gets out from the country. I don't know, Ecuadorian or Venezuelan or Bolivian or I don't know Taiwanese, right? We don't know their folklorical music, right?
Yeah,
And for me, that's where lays the most valuable, can change the way you think music,
yeah,
because the
exactly.
commercial stuff is all really similar. Then
Yep,
just
yep.
changes a bit the cover, but it's all similar, right? But then when you go deeper, you find really the
Yeah, and
uh,
you start to understand more the way styles intertwine into each other, because there's a lot of similarities if we talk about the Caribbean, between Cuba, DR, and Puerto Rico, that we are right there. There's a lot of music that we're like, oh, that sounds like this. Yeah, we call it this way, but in DR
mhm,
we call it this way. And at the end of the day, it's kind of like the same
mhm.
pattern that is the foundation of everything. So it's really
Cool.
interesting.
Cool. Another question. When you see different drummers playing, how can you differ an amazing drummer from a normal drummer? What are the things that you look at, that you listen and say, dude, this guy is incredible? What are the skills this guy has?
I go on my feed on Instagram and I'm like, whoa, like there's a lot of like fast hits right now. Like I can't do that. I'm like,
Yeah.
those chops and stuff is like, ooh. But here at Berkeley, I've seen a lot of those that they can, they can play a lot and do a lot of in that drum set. But you put it in a band, maybe not even like a big band, just like a small ensemble, like a trio, and they don't know how to communicate to
Yeah.
each other, because that's different when you're just in those four walls playing drums by yourself, which is great. We all did that. But you have to share with other musicians.
Yeah.
And in my case, what makes you a like a nice drummer, like okay, this is great, is when you see the ability you see the ability of listen in the drummer that's playing with other people, because it's different when you're just like playing your stuff, which is great. You're in your pocket there, that's good. But sometimes there's things that happen musically while you're playing that if you catch them, I think it boosts the performance,
Mhm.
and that's great. The most beautiful thing.
So you think like these amazing drummers are more due to how they communicate and then they sync, right? They listen to others
Yeah, they listen
rather
to others.
than what they play.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's cool. And how about you? Like when you are playing and you say, "Wow, this thing, I'm proud of this thing that I just did, or this song or this concert." What are the things that you remember saying, "Oh, that was nice."
It's mainly that. It's like
Same.
way like we were in the same
Hmm.
place at the same time, like we were doing this. And it's not only me. When sometimes we play like a club gig, that you will say,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's just a club gig, you just playing music there and that's it. But when it's different, when you're just putting everyone to dance,
Hmm.
that's like, okay, we're just playing the record and that's it. But when you're playing the record and then maybe the keyboard player comes with something and the bass player comes with something, and just like following that, and everyone is like in sync, having fun while you're putting the crowd to
Hmm.
have fun, is like, this is this is magical here. Okay, so we all felt it,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
that makes
Cool.
it even more.
That's nice. And while we were saying about this communication, I thought, remember that probably you know Estepario Siberiano.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
guys,
this guy is
insane.
everywhere now, right? Like this
Yeah.
most famous drummer today, and he says, "I'm not a musician. I'm a drummer." He says it himself, like I, because
Oh,
he
that's
doesn't really
interesting.
like to play with bands. He just like
Yeah,
to play by himself on the drums, right? So I think maybe I just thought it now, but maybe social media created another type of drummer, which is just playing drummer, not musician, right? Just I like to play my
yeah,
instrument in my bedroom because today, as a drummer, if I also scroll my feed, I will see more drummers playing alone than drummers playing with bands, right?
yeah,
So why
yeah.
not? I want to be one of those just playing alone.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
There's a
it's
new
crazy.
type of drummer.
That I would say that now it's more popular because those type of drummers
Mhm.
all like existed before.
Yep.
There's a lot of drummers that they just did drum clinics, and that was
Hmm.
the whole thing. They would just play into tracks, or selling like a product, you know.
Yeah.
But now it's more popular for sure. Like social media took that to another level.
Yeah, it's another level. Tell us a little bit about what you're studying or practicing now.
Right now, it's hard because I don't really
Mhm.
have like my space, my rehearsal
Uh-huh.
space. So what I do is I go to I've been playing this church that now is not far from me. It's like maybe 15 minutes away driving. And I think at the end of last year, because I don't really like to bother people and ask for things. And it was nice that they told me like, yo, this is a copy of the keys of the church. You can come here and practice whenever you want. But even that, it's different than having like a small space
Yeah.
that you know you're not bothering anyone,
Mm.
than having like a huge building that you're playing there and the reverb is insane. And I'm like, I get like super self-conscious and I'm like, I know I'm bothering someone. So it's kind of hard to practice there, but that's the only resource I have.
Mhm.
I try to go there maybe 4 or 5 times a week, and I spend there maybe 4 hours. It's between 2 hours and a
Okay.
half. It's never less than 2 hours and a half. The way that I'm practicing, it's either learning songs that I have to play with different bands. I'm playing in a wedding band, and sometimes it's this. Most of the time, it's the same set list. We only like change the order and stuff, but sometimes you have request songs. Sometimes they are like, okay, we're gonna play this new song, we've been playing this for a while. So I try to learn this song, and also I'm trying revisit all my Berkeley material, everything that I have, because in I don't know in everything else, but when it comes to my music and drums, I'm like super organized. So I have like every class and everything in different folders, like really organized. All my Berkeley semesters I have like, and sometimes I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And I remember I just learned this to do it in that class and never put the hand again to that. So I'm trying to do that, like trying to revisit those like materials that sometimes it sometimes it's like harder, but sometimes it's like, okay, I think I can do this. I can. So yeah, that's what I've been doing lately.
All right. Cool. So around 10, at least 10 hours a week, which
Yeah.
is a good time, right? For when you have a bunch of other things going on. Having
Hmm.
at least 10 hours a week is good. And recycling content. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
forget, right? We forget it.
Yeah. We forget it. It's like riding a bicycle. Once you start, you're like, okay, cool, but you're not riding as smooth as you were
Mhm.
before. So you have to. It takes time. You're just like, okay, cool. Oh, let me try this.
Yeah,
It's
but
kind of
how
hard.
about that feeling? That feeling for me, that's amazing feeling where you find something that you can't do, and then you start, and it doesn't work, and it doesn't work. It starts to work, and it starts to work, and say fuck, and it's like
Yep.
this frustration of trying to get it done, and sometimes and then you get it, and then you get it, and after 2 minutes playing, you say, dude, that's so easy.
Yep.
Right? It
Yep.
fits your.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember one of my professors of classical percussion. He was like, if you've been struggling with the same. I remember this was like learning something in the marimba. If you're struggling learning those two bars and you've been there for more than 20 minutes, just drop it. Get a coffee, take a walk, give it like 5 minutes. And when you come back, you will have it. And I'm like, that's stupid. Why? Like, why would you drop it? You won't get it. And it was like magic.
It works. It
Yeah,
works.
it worked. Like I was like, oh my god, just drop the
Yeah.
sticks, take a walk, and yeah, I come back and I'm like, okay, let's try. Oh, got it.
Done.
So yeah, so it's sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's like you don't have to push yourself that much. Just
Cool.
take a step back and just
Nice.
do it again.
Do you have any, are you using any tool, or do you think there are any tools that people should, or any drummer should use?
The metronome is a must. You have
Mhm.
you need it all the time.
Any
I,
specific metronome you would suggest?
the one
Or,
that I've been using for years is the Pro Metronome. I
uh-huh.
found this app on iPhone when I started using iPhone like a while back, and I stick with
It
that
just
one.
works.
Yeah, I just have that one. It's easy. They also have like a stage mode.
Hmm.
So when I have to learn songs and I have to keep the time of it, but we don't have tracks, I can make like a set list with the tempo and put some
Mm.
notes, and I think that's fantastic for like a metronome app. So I just do that.
Do they use that in stage?
Yeah,
Is that
I listen to the beat, and the thing is like it's super. Sometimes I even try to make it hard for myself in order to keep time. And this app has like it's very visual too. So sometimes I just mute the metronome, and I try to match the light
All right.
of the,
Uh-huh.
just to make it hard on yourself.
Hmm.
Let me show you how it looks. But it's, I don't know if you can see it there.
Yep. Yep.
So sometimes I just mute it and I just try to watch the beep.
Hmm. Got it.
and and yeah, and the stage mode that I told you is right here. So when you click it, you have the name of the songs and the
Uh-huh.
tempo. So when you click it, you click the song start. It gives you like 2 bars of the tempo of that song, so you can internalize, and then you're like ready to
Hmm.
count it off.
To call it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Any other app or tools that you're using?
Besides that, lately, but this is not only, it can be used for drums too. I use it in a different setup. There's a web page called Fader. It's kind
Hmm.
of, you can upload songs or tracks and give you like stems of the track, so you can like really
Okay.
separate. It's
Yeah.
one of those AI
Yeah.
new apps.
Hmm.
So this one, I use it when I really want to learn something like super specific, and I can only do the drum set, or I can put the track lower. I won't say is like a must app. I've been trying to produce music lately, so I've been trying to
Hmm.
get stems to make samples and learn the parts. So I've been using it more for that. But when I want to do maybe like a drum cover or something like that, I just mute the drums and play to the track, So that could be
Got it.
helpful if you don't want to like step on top of the other drummer that
Yeah.
it's in the
Yeah.
recording.
Cool.
You can use that as a practice, Logic Pro X. I've been
Uh-huh.
using Logic.
What do you do
uh
that? Just to
on
compose?
Logic. Yeah, and I try to I use it for recordings too. But a good way of learning tunes, like really uh learning something that you want to learn. I put the song in Logic, and I start to do the structure of the songs. They have a part that is like on top of markers. They put like
Hmm.
a arrangement, so you can mark the parts. Okay, this is the intro, this is the verse.
Oh,
So
okay.
when you start doing that, I think you get a better glimpse of the song, and you know where you are. So sometimes I just do it that. Sometimes it's
Got it.
even like a long process to learn a song,
Hmm.
but um, if I'm learning that song to do a cover, it's way easier because now I have the template there. So if I
Sure.
have to punch something like, oh, I messed up the second chorus, I can just like go exactly there, and I know where I'm at. So it's a nice
Got it.
resource to
Nice.
do it.
Cool. Cool. Two last questions. One, quick questions. Is there any band or drummer that you think every drummer should listen to? Not every drummer. Each drummer can do whatever they want, right? But is there any band or drummer that you think someone should listen to?
Lerner Lewis, he's
Uh-huh.
one of the snarky puppy drummers, because they have several drummers. I don't know him. I wish someday, but he seems like a really nice guy. And I also, in terms of drumming and being a musician, we are first like humans. So he seems like a nice guy. That's why I really want to meet him. But when it comes to drumming, the guy is insane, and you can see that he listens to the band. He has dynamics. He can play whatever he wants. So it's like, to me, he's like a total package. I listen a lot to Alain Perez, which is a timba uh, artist. Like he's
Okay.
a he's a singer now. The arrangements are insane. The music is great, and you can dance to it. So you're enjoying in all the senses. If you are trying to get into like Afro Dominican music and
Mhm.
stuff, I always recommend one singer, which is Xiomara Fortuna. The nickname is La Reina de la Fusión, the Queen of Fusion. It's crazy. I remember the first time I heard her music and I was like, what's this? This is from here. Why I never knew about this? So it was like mind blowing. And my favorite album from her, and I think in general, I recommend this album to everyone. It's called Kumbahe, and it's an album. Maybe it's 20 something years old. It's an incredible album, and yeah, I think that's a band that
Good tips. And last thing, what would you suggest to someone that is starting to drum now,
oof.
just entering?
The first thing, try not to get overwhelmed by everything you see on social media. I won't say everything you see there is fake because it's
Mm.
not. But even for me, at this time, I've been playing for more than 20 years. And sometimes I pick up the phone and I see something and I'm like, bro, how he can do this and I can't. And it's like, yeah,
Mm.
because you guys are different. You have a different path. And I have a like a motto that is intenta de nuevo. It's like try again in translated to English. Because now I notice that my generation too, but the generation that it's coming up, they want stuff like this quick.
Mm.
And the other day I saw like an analogy, compare it to microwavable foods, that the way your grandma's cooking, it was so tasty, it was because she started preparing it the day before. She put everything to seasoning the day before, and that's why it's so good. Not like a microwavable food that you put in the microwave for 2 minutes and it's done, right? And this generation right now, they want stuff like this. It's like, okay, and you can see it in the content that is out right now. It's like five tips to be the best doing whatever, and it's like, bro, it doesn't work like
Yeah.
that. It's not five
Become a
tips.
drummer in 1 month. No,
No.
you're not going to become a drummer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can play a beat, you can play a groove, but that
Okay.
doesn't
Yeah.
make you a drummer, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, just be consistent and have a lot of patience. I think you'll make it. If you take that, you'll make it.
I'm sure. Francis, thanks a lot for all these insights. It was
No,
great
thank
talking
you.
to you. I'm sure
Uh,
many people will like it to listen to it.
oh, I hope so. Thank you so much.